This is Corey with iGo Fitness. Pick the windiest day of the year to come out here to the tennis court to show you some dynamic warm-ups. But you can use these on the court before a match, before a tournament, or just in general if you're getting ready to exercise, but they're more tennis specific than anything. So let's get into it. First thing we want to start with are mobility drills, just to get the body warmed up and break a sweat. That way you can work on some stretching a little bit later. So the first thing you're going to do is you can just jog the entire baseline up and back. Today we'll keep it within the service box just for brevity's sake. Start back here, just jog forward, turn around and jog back. So we're getting the heart rate up a little bit. We're also changing direction, as you can see, as you go back and forth. The next thing you can do is shuffle back and forth. Work on some lateral movement. And obviously, in both directions. Another thing I like to do is use the shuffle as a rest. So I'll jog one place, a little jog or sprint, and then shuffle back. Shuffle back. And jog. All right, another great way to warm up the lower body, work on some agility and quickness, is karaoke. We're gonna take left foot in front, bring the feet back to parallel, left foot behind, and repeat. So as you can see, getting a lot of rotation with the hips. On the way back, we just switch directions. So you really have to work on making sure that your feet aren't getting tangled up underneath you, so you're really preparing them for any sort of quick movements. Sometimes the ball hits you right or your left, and you have to react quickly just like that, and that's going to help you with that first crossover step to make sure you get to the ball. All right, the next thing we're going to do is warm up a little bit of the adductors. A lot of people pull groin muscles when they're lunging for balls or reaching for a passing shot, so what you want to do is make sure that you get that nice and warmed up. So step to the side, reach down, come back to the center, step to the other side. So you're going to reach across with that opposite arm, and that's important because you want to get that rotation in the upper body going as well. So it's important to take the hand, the outside of the foot, so that we get some upper body incorporated as well. And if you can't hear me well, I apologize. Now what you can do is make it a little more dynamic. Let's add a hop in the middle of it. We're here, boom, boom. So now, it's a little plyometric. We load and explode. Load, explode, boom. So after doing that for a couple of minutes, you want to do all that, make it last about 5 to 10 minutes. You're gonna notice your heart rate's up, you're breaking a little bit of a sweat. You can start to stretch a little bit. So if you've got shoulder issues, back issues, whatever your issues are, you might want to take care of stretching those muscles first. At this point, you can do dynamic, moving, or static, holding it, stretches, because you're warmed up, so you are going to get a little bit of a flexibility benefit from both. But what we're going to do is just show you some dynamic things you can do with the racket, regardless of what your issues are. So, first thing we're going to do, just hold on to 2 ends of the racket here, one at the head, one at the handle. Just bring the hands up overhead, thumbs pointing behind you, just like this, and extend back. Squeeze those shoulder blades and extend back, warming up the shoulders and the rotator cuff here. So notice I'm not swinging the racket here. The goal is not to see how far I can move it. The goal is to see how much mobility I have in my shoulders. I'm really trying to isolate those muscles there. So it's not a total body effort. It's all about the shoulders here. All right, so now we'll get more of the deltoids involved. We'll bring it down at the waist and up here. It's about increasing mobility. You should have a good tempo. This should be pain-free. Should feel very light and easy. But if you do enough reps, so you're going to do about 15 to 20 of all these, and if you do enough reps, you'll start to feel a little bit of a burn, really just warming those muscles up. So now we're going to take it in a different direction. We're going to make half of a W here, so we're going to reach over to the side. Again, you're always reaching across your body in tennis, so we want to get that warmed up as well. Across the body here, and the same thing, we're just reaching back. This one's a bigger motion. So we are trying to extend that beyond the head just a little bit. Take that shoulder through a good range of motion. We're also getting the lats and this chest involved as well. See there, stretching the chest out. Take it to the other side. And of course, throughout all this, once you become very coordinated, you can get your lower body involved as well. So that's always a good thing to do. And then lastly but not least, we're going to get some rotation in the shoulder. So we're going to hold right here in the middle of the handle. So you can hold bottom of the frame, you can hold the handle wherever you choose. I like to hold right here at the bottom of the frame. It makes it as even as possible. I'm going to make an L here. Notice there's an L with the arm. Just going to rotate that back. So on the side, it's just like this. So no, I'm not yanking it back. It's just a rotation at the shoulder and back down to 90. Boom, boom. If you have shoulder issues, you may want to watch out for this one, but it's a really good way to get some rotator cuff work in before your tennis match. And obviously, do the same thing on both sides here. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna get the lower body involved. So we can use the racket again. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this overhead and step forward into a lunge. And what we're gonna do is try to bring the racket over the head and reach back so we can stretch the hip flexor out. So step forward here, and notice how, as I'm reaching back, this hip is going down toward the ground. So I'm really stretching that out. Come back down. We're gonna switch feet here, but we're also getting the upper body involved as well. So now it's a more total body movement. So stretch that out briefly and step back. This is one of my favorites. It warms up the body, stretches out necessary muscles. Hip flexors are gonna be used all day in sprinting back and forth on the court. It's really great for any sport, but it really helps for tennis. Another thing, a rotational lunge. A lot of times you have to turn behind you and then accelerate and do something, so you want to make sure that your hips and your legs are prepared for that. So start with the feet parallel, facing forward. It's going to rotate behind you. Feet are going to be perpendicular to one another. We got 90-degree angles here, very important to make sure the hips are going in the proper directions here. Reach down with one racket. Notice how the knee is bent here. Knee stays behind the toe. Come back to the center. Other side. You can make it a little more dynamic by having your racket in the opposite hand and really reaching across to get that upper body involved. Step out, boom. So notice I lost a little bit of balance there, so it's good to warm up. Make sure I got that. So make sure my center of balance is, center of gravity rather. It's all in perfect balance. Just reach and reach. And you might notice that with each reach, I'm going a little bit faster. Getting a little more confident. My feet are starting to shift a little bit, so I'm adding some mobility to it. So you can start off nice and slow, and then once you really get that confidence, build it up to game speed, and you really start to feel it. Again, it's going to get that heart rate up. I'm breaking a little bit of a sweat, and I'm really ready to go and ace them on the court. So that's pretty much how you get it done. See you next week.